Ladies and gentlemen, a very spooky edition of the James Whale Radio Show! Here we go. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Robbo is producer extraordinaire. You're here, I take it?
I am in the building.
He's in the building. Later we'll be talking to Yvette Fielding, that really raunchy little presenter of Blue Peter, but she's grown up. Doesn't everybody? I remember when she was very young, but now she's not. No, she's not. And she, of course, is famous now, not for Blue Peter, but for The Most Haunted. And we'll be talking to her a little later. We've got some music from her son's band, which are called...
White Eskimo.
White Eskimo, yes, okay. Right, so welcome to the programme as the world continues to fall apart, and we are, of course, maybe just through in whenever you're listening to this programme. I have no idea when you're listening to it. But Easter has been around, the time where we celebrate chocolate, although for some people they celebrate religion. I just find it's a nice time to have off as we welcome in spring. And, of course, for whatever reason, we are all entitled to our beliefs and non-beliefs. So happy holidays to all of you. And we've had quite a few people call in during the week. Thank you very much indeed. We've had people getting in touch via Facebook. And if you want to join us on the program sometime, or if you've got a band who would like to play, then all you've got to do is email me at jameswhaleradio@gmail.com. And of course, we put out last week, did you see the video of me testing those new arrows from the longbow shop?
I did.
Were you impressed?
I was quite impressed, yes.
Yeah. Yes, well, that was all filmed on a very super-duper camera that did everything, including slow everything down.
Was it an iPhone 6, perchance?
I've no idea. Possibly it was. Possibly it was. Hey, does that mean I get a free one if we say it was?
If you say iPhone 10 times, you get a free one, yeah.
What? iPhone, 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 iPhone. No, 666. 666.
That's cheating.
666.
You have to say it randomly without... randomly during the show, you have to say the word iPhone 10 times.
And you'll get me one. Okay, fine. Right, now... oh, don't let me cough. Yes, you can see that. It's on our website, isn't it?
It is on the website, yes.
Yeah, my prowess with in fact, my mate I go shooting with, we're thinking of doing a review of archery equipment once a month or something. So if any archery shops or manufacturers want to send me stuff, I'll film myself using it. God, I'll never have to buy another bow again.
I'm figuring that's what the plan is, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was really quite cool. So listen, let's. We talked about Easter, didn't I, before? And we did put it out, didn't we, on Facebook this week? I asked the question: Easter, chocolate or religion? What does it mean to you? Peter Chambers says religious event that's become commercialised, but I still love my chocky egg. Do you know I went into Tesco's this morning, and they had Easter eggs for 10 quid each. Golly. Andy Myers says it's a pagan festival hijacked by those who believe in chocolate fairies. I see. Brian Woodworth, anybody who has an imaginary friend in this day and age wants their head looking at. Oh, dear. Tom says family time, a bit like Christmas. Yes, it is traditional, a religious time, but it is great for non-believers like me to come together and spend some quality time with their loved ones. That's very nice as well. And Louise Tyrrell says it's a religious event. The supermarkets have a lot to answer for. My boys love a bit of chocolate and always get their fair share of eggs, but they know what Easter's about. Well, there we are. Have you done the Easter thing? Are you going to do the Easter thing?
My wife's done all the shopping for the eggs. I'll just
really?
Eat them. Yeah, I'll eat them.
Mrs. W, of course, loves me to stay trim, look after my figure. She doesn't actually like me eating chocolate Easter. I haven't had a chocolate Easter egg for years. I have to go and get one for myself and sit in the car and eat it.
Don't you go in with chocolate all over your face?
I try not to. I've got wet ones. That's the best way to go. Yeah, I'm test driving the new Ford Focus, by the way, at the moment. Pretty smart, but we'll put a couple of photographs up over the next few weeks while I'm giving it a test.
A chocolate-coloured Ford Focus.
Yeah, I'm working my way up to hopefully the new. They're bringing out the new Ford Mustang.
Oh, the one
bringing out, yeah,
the one that's right-hand drive.
Yeah, fabulous. And they're now, and apparently they're going to bring out a Ford Continental, which look rather quite smart. But that's all the news from Ford, and we'll have more later. Shall we talk to Miss Yvette Fielding now?
Ooh, yeah, go on then.
Why don't you get her on the dog and bone, and we'll have a chat.
Okay.
And whilst you're doing that, why don't we take a commercial break?
Would you like a free audiobook? Our friends at Audible are giving everybody a free audiobook just by going to the James Whale Radio Show website, jameswhaleradio.co.uk. All you need to do is click on the Audible link, register, and you'll get your free audiobook. It's a bit like a book club, and remember, you can leave at any time and you still get to keep your free audiobook. So what are you waiting for? Just head over to the James Whale Radio Show website, jameswhaleradio.co.uk, and click on that Audible link now.
Now, it was World Spiritualist Day on Tuesday, so I thought, who better to call up and chat to today on the programme than the one and only Yvette Fielding. Forget Blue Peter. Let's talk about the most haunted, shall we? Where are you?
Hi. So excited to talk to you. I am in Arley Mills in West Yorkshire. We're on location. We are filming for one of the new series for UK TV, Most Haunted. These new series start in June on the Really channel. So we're very excited. And I've not had a look round this particular location yet, but producer, director and husband Carl is off at the moment with cameras and the crew, just having a look at all the supposed haunted locations. And I'm sat here talking to you, surrounded by all sorts of spiritual paraphernalia like Ouija boards and upturned wine glasses. And it's going to be a good night.
Well, I know Arley Mill well. In fact, it's just around the corner from Yorkshire Television, where I used to work. So, yes, it is quite a spooky and rather satanic place, is it not?
Oh, now, I don't know about the satanic, and this I have to look into, because, of course, I like to sort of turn up to the location and then, after I've been here, sort of settled myself in, had a cup of tea, had a look round, and then I get given loads of paperwork of the history of the location. So I haven't been given that yet. So I'm looking forward to having a good read and get stuck in.
Actually, while I think on, how is your husband, Carl, who he used to work with me, didn't he?
He did. We've still got a picture in his office of you all. I think it's a big production photo, sort of one of those wrap shoots that you have everybody in, and a group picture. And there you are, looking gorgeous. And there's my gorgeous husband sat on the floor next to some busty lady, I think. I don't know what it was for. It sits there, pride of place, so it does, James.
Yes. Yeah, as I remember, he's a bit handy, your old man, as a martial artist, isn't he?
He certainly, he certainly is. I don't know if he's still, whether he's still got the world record or something or other, but I think he held on to his martial arts world record for a very, very long time. It was unbreakable, and he was undefeated, I think, for a very long time. It's in the world traditional full contact art of martial arts, and it's Wadaroo and Rukikempo. That's all I remember.
Yeah. In fact, I think he was very popular with a couple of the the male producers of the programme. Need I say more?
Really? No, he didn't tell me anything like that.
He was a pin-up. Right. Let's talk about Most Haunted. Let's talk about how did you get? Are you a spiritualist?
I would think that I probably am now. When we first started doing Most Haunted, it must have got to be about 15 years ago now. Carl and I, came up with the idea. I was terrified of anything to do with the paranormal. It would just give me nightmares. I've never watched horror movies or spooky movies or anything to do with ghosts because it would give me terrifying nightmares. So when we said, let's go and do a pilot program of this and let's spend the night in a haunted house, I was absolutely just beside myself with fear, but at the same time incredibly excited. I went in with an open mind thinking, not every cold draft is a ghost. It's probably because some idiots left the door open. But after 15 years, James, I've seen too many things. I've heard too many things. We have as a team recorded so much evidence that's been sent off to universities for people to research and look into it more. And I now know without a shadow of a doubt that there is life after death. Whatever that is, I don't know, but there's definitely life after death. There's something that happens to our soul or whatever you want to call it, and we move on, we go somewhere. Where that is, I don't know. For those who believe in God and heaven, then we go to heaven. For those who are more scientific, we go to an alternate plane. For me, I'm not sure, but I do know that there is definitely life after death.
Well, like you, I've spoken about this for years. In fact, I think one of my first ever interviews on this was with Doris Stokes, who was perhaps one of the most famous mediums, and then after that, Doris Collins. And then, of course, for a time on one of my late-night radio shows, I had your very good friend, Mr. Derek Cora, used to come in quite regularly. And sadly, I would love to believe what you believe, but I just think it's all... I just think people hear voices. I don't know. I've not seen anything. And my mother, who said she'd come back one day, never came back to say goodbye.
Do you know what? I have to say, when it comes to mediums, we no longer use mediums on Most Haunted. I believe that there are people out there who truly are psychic. They truly are spiritual, and they are mediums, as we call them. But I think, sadly, the majority of people that call themselves psychic and mediums that are on the television, that do theatre shows, that take money for tickets and so on, I think they're charlatans. They've been found out. They are fake and they are fraud. And I think it's a real shame because there's the odd person out there who does have an amazing talent, but they keep themselves very, very quiet. They don't talk about it. They don't go on television. They don't charge for it. And it's something else. Over the years, oh my God, we found mediums. We've had many mediums on this show over the years, or supposed mediums. We found them in the toilets, on the phone, talking to their friends or relatives, trying to get information. We've found bits of paper with information on there. All sorts of ways that they have tried to get information to use on the show, and blatantly lying about, them talking to the other side, and they're not. And I remember I really wanted to believe that these so-called mediums were talking to the other side, and I remember being really upset finding out that they actually weren't, and I felt really annoyed that I'd been taken for a ride, and very upset because people on the show, were watching the program and watching these mediums and believing them, and I felt very upset about it. So after a very long struggle with the channel that we were airing the show on at the time, we eventually won our case where we didn't want to have mediums on the show anymore. So now we don't have any mediums. And that, for me, I think, like yourself, ruins people's thought process on life after death. And I think mediums have done an awful lot of damage, which is a real shame. So hopefully by us not having mediums on Most Haunted anymore, we'll be able to move forward and and bring back some, confidence in some people, and sort of everything that we present to them, data, sound, image, we'll be able to sort of say to them, well, look, this is what we're getting. It's up to you whether you believe it or not, but it's non-fraudulent, and it's truthful, and that's all we can do. But I do feel very sorry for people that have been led down the wrong path by these so-called mediums.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that. I think you're even more against it than me. I give some people the benefit of the doubt. I actually think they believe that they are in contact with something, but I don't see it. They come up with some really obscure things, but some of them I think absolutely believe. I don't know whether they've got voices in their head or something like that, but they actually believe, I think, what they're doing.
I completely agree. And after, like I say, working with a lot of these people, that I think some of them, do genuinely think that they are communicating with the other side. And 9 times out of 10, 9.5 times out of 10, they're not. It's just their own imagination. And, I could give you a fabulous reading now, James, if we were face to face. I could tell you, there's a lovely lady, she's in spirit now, and she's looking down on you. She's really protecting you. She's really interested. And there's a little dog in spirit as well. They will talk about health problems, probably to do with your back, your knees, you're having a bit of trouble there. Is there a ring that's gone missing in the family, something connected with your grandmother? Then they'll talk about numbers. Could this be a birthday? And they'll always say, can you take this? Can you confirm this? I've honestly seen it, been there, done it. And there's only one medium that I've ever worked with that I would work with time and time again. And his name is Brian Shepherd. And he's one of these people that doesn't go around telling everybody he's a medium. But I was the only person that knew what I put in my father's coffin, and I put a variety of different objects in my father's coffin, various bits of clothing, blah, blah, blah. And Brian came up to me and basically told me everything that nobody else knew about. And then I actually dropped to my knees. I was just in complete shock, and he was telling me things that my father, very, very specific things. And I think if somebody tells you something incredibly specific that nobody else will know but you and the person that's died, then that's something that's interesting. That to me is a very interesting thing that can't be ignored. But all this other stuff, your grandmother's in spirit, you've got a dog and jewellery, and your back's hurt, you have an operation recently. Oh, what a load of old rubbish! Go and get a life and try and stop, sort of pretending that you're hearing spirits from the other side.
On a live theatre show I did once, I decided to do a demonstration of my mystic powers, and I got carried away when I said, I'm getting a name now, Elizabeth, and some woman in the audience put her hand up. That's me, a friend of mine, and I just kept on. And it was very naughty, but things just kept going right, and I began to think, I might stop this, because what's going on?
I think you should come on the show.
Right, okay, so how does it work now without a medium? What do? You go into a building that is reputedly full of ghosts.
Yeah, so we go into a building where many people have reported, whether it's, people that work here, so the staff here are reporting seeing things, dark shadows, strange noises, moaning voices, objects moving on their own, all that sort of thing. So you think, okay, they can't all be making it up unless, and this is where we have to be very careful, unless it's a location that is open to the public and wants to use it as a venue to promote business, i.e. ghost investigation nights, or, just to get more public in, then that's something that we have to be careful of. So we listen to the eyewitnesses. We listen to people that have gone in there, even members of the public that have gone into these big stately homes. We talk to them privately, and then we think, okay, this sounds like a good place to go and investigate. And you'll go in there, and it's myself. There's only a small amount of people that are on the team now. So there's myself, there's Carl, the director, there's Darren and Greg, and then we have a complete skeptic called Glenn Hunt, who's a radio presenter. And he doesn't believe in any of it, which is quite nice, really, to have somebody on there that's, poo-poos everything that we do. And we're always trying to convince him, saying, yes, but it could have been paranormal. He's like, absolutely not. There's a scientific reason for this, which I think is really important to have. And then we have a historian, and we go in and we concentrate. We call out for things to happen. We do Ouija board sessions. We do seances. We turn all the lights off when it gets darker, and wander around on our own. And sometimes really frightening things happen, and we manage, 60% of the time to catch it on camera. And if the one thing when people will criticise us and say, oh well, if it's real, you would have caught it all on camera, and you think, well, actually no, because you're not sure that at 6 o'clock, this copy's going to fly off a shelf. And if you did know that for sure, you'd have locked off cameras in every single nook and cranny of the building. So it's very fly by the seat of your pants type television, and we're here all night. And sometimes you can go into locations and not that much happens at all, and other times you go in there and we've caught the most wonderful things occurring. Where we've caught this old Victorian wheelchair moving on its own, voices, just really odd lights, again, objects moving all on their own, and voices. We're also working with the World's Leading Authority in EVP, and we're managing to get all sorts of wonderful things happening, where he puts all his equipment, all these sort of reel-to-reel and sort of massive bank of computers, and he's picking up these strange voices where I will say, hello, can you tell me your name? And all of a sudden, lo and behold, something will come through the speakers and it'll say, James Whale, and it's like, oh my God, somebody said their first name and their surname, and you can see the waveform, and it's really fascinating to watch. And we've managed to have a lot of this information that's coming through on EVP verified by the historians that work with the locations. So for me, that's absolutely fascinating. And one of the things I want to be able to do is to go to somewhere like Jodrell Bank in Cheshire and really go big time on the EVP, because I think it's noise and voices rather than what you get on camera visual. Because everybody's going to say, oh, you faked this, you faked that, oh, it's, the stuff of ghosts allegedly caught on camera that's on YouTube at the moment. It's really hard to say whether they're genuine or not. And my other big thing is I love to invite people along to experience it for themselves, hence me inviting you along now. Would you like to come along?
Well, I think I should be your skeptic. I'll listen. I'll come along sometime. I'd like to come along. My one thing that two things that I have seen, which I can't explain in my life. One, I was sitting having coffee with some friends one day, and a cup in a saucer on the table just turned round completely, and everybody looked at each other. And another time, I was interviewing Uri Geller, and he always bends a spoon. And he rubbed this spoon and he gave it to me, and I said, well, it hasn't bent, has it? And it was my spoon, by the way. It's quite a tough spoon. He said, no, it doesn't always work. He said, just put it down on the desk and see what happens. And I put it on the desk and it bent on its own.
Yeah, it's a curious one, that one. We had Uri Geller on the show once, and we had an argument in the crew because some of us, exactly like you, I saw that happen. It happened to me, so I saw it with my own eyes and thought, wow, that's amazing. And yet Carl, he thinks he's worked out how he does it, so he thinks it's fake and I don't. So it's really interesting, isn't it? How if it is fake, it's a bloody good. It's very, very clever. It's interesting. You should come along, and I think you should be our skeptic, because I think some of the things that we experience will just blow your mind. There's this phenomena that no one can work out.
Where you are in Yorkshire at the moment, of course, over in North Yorkshire, where I used to live, Fountains Abbey, a medieval abbey, ruins of a medieval abbey, be a very, very good place to go.
Yeah, anywhere. If anybody listening, we're always intrigued, and also people that have it's not just the sort of stately homes and the old mills. I'm intrigued with people that have problems in their own homes. I mean, you hear about these poor people, and they're living an absolute nightmare because they'll wake up in the middle of the night and they'll hear that, the furniture being moved around. They'll go downstairs and everything's turned upside down. They think burglars have been in, but it's not. And they can't explain it, and being dragged out of bed. I mean, how terrifying. So if anybody's listening, I would love to talk to people like that, that are, frightened, because I'd love to come and chat to them and perhaps, help out in any way we can.
Well, if anybody wants to get in touch, we'll give them the address to do so at the end of the program. Now, let's talk about Blue Peter, a time in your life that's how long ago was that?
Oh gosh, it was 87 to 92, so I did the show for 5 years.
Yeah, I mean that Blue Peter doesn't really exist anymore, does it?
Do you know, I recently guested on there, and it was such a shame because it's such a fantastic programme, and I'm very, very fond of it. And I just think it's such a shame that the BBC moved it from mainstream BBC to CBBC. And, I would love to, I was actually thinking, shall I write a letter to the Queen? Because I really, truly believe that it's so sad. We're watching a lot of our, heritage. It's all going. And, what with the way the world is going, our 15-year-old daughter's forever on her iPod, and it's YouTube this, and she talks about memes, for goodness sake, and having feels, and, me and Carla are like, what are you talking about? But, it's all online. And I think the Blue Peter people at the BBC decided that, we're going to move it to the CBBC channel, which is just for children. But my argument is, when Blue Peter was on, it wasn't just for children. It was for families. It was for mums and dads as well, grandmas and granddads, and we all sat round and we all watched it together. People, communities would do the Blue Peter appeals and collect the milk bottle tops and the aluminium cans, and it's all gone. And even though they say, yes, it's still here, it's still on CBBC, yes, it is, but it deserves to be put back on mainstream BBC One. It's such a shame, and I get quite upset about it because it's a fantastic programme. It still is a fantastic programme, but it deserves to be put back in its rightful place.
Well, I think, you can never go back, can you? That's the thing. That was of its time. The new Blue Peter is definitely the one show.
Yes, it is a bit. Yeah, you're right.
So I think that's the new Blue Peter. I'm just waiting for a one show badge that I can do something to get hold of.
Do you know what? That would be a bit strange if they did come out with the one show badge. You could get in free to all sorts of wonderful restaurants.
Now, listen, let's talk a bit about, apparently I'm told that your son is a musician. We're going to play some of his music on the programme later. Is that right?
Yes, the band's called White Eskimo. I set up my own record label called Jack No No Records, just to sort of give the band a helping hand and get them up there. And they're called White Eskimo. Their single came out on the 23rd of March, but their EP is being released on the 26th of April. It's already on iTunes. It's called 100 Times. And the band, my son is the lead singer, Will, and the band have been together for a couple of years, but the old lead singer used to be Harry Styles, and Will went with Harry to the X Factor auditions just to hold his hand, as it were, because Will didn't want to audition, but he just went as a best mate. Harry got the job and became hugely famous, and Will said, oh, right, okay, well, we need to find a new lead singer for the band, and nobody really came up to par, so Will said, well, do you know what, I'll do it. So they've just been writing, getting their heads down, doing, gigging in, old rusty truck up and down the country, doing it the old-fashioned way. And only now, a couple of years later, they said, right, now we're ready to show everybody what we've got. So they're a pop-punk band, and they take their sort of writing process and then from like Green Day and Blink-182 and that sort of thing. And hopefully, somebody out there and a big label will go, do you know what? They're quite good, these lads. I'm hoping so anyway.
You don't think he thought he should have done the X Factor audition then?
No, he's very much against it. He says, and I can kind of see where he's coming from. He says, no, I want to write all my own stuff, and I want to be a true musician. He's not slagging the people off that are on X Factor, but I think he's under the impression that if you're on X Factor, things are written for you, and you're told what to do and where to go, and and I think he just wants to write his own material. He's a real songwriter, and he plays every instrument you can think of. So for him, he just wants to sort of be in charge of his own stuff and write his own material, which he has done. And he's just written the album, which has been produced by James Lewis, who's just produced Rudimental and Ray Morris's stuff. And so he loves just sort of getting down and doing his own thing.
So we're gonna play White Eskimo and 100 times in a moment.
Yeah.
So you're a record company executive, you're a television executive, a television presenter, a tea shop owner, and you have a farm as well.
Yes. I used to have 5 horses, and I decided that I was going to go a bit nuts. So I had some stables built and a menage built where you exercise the horses, and I really got into competing and doing dressage and jumping and everything. And then because of my age, I think I suddenly couldn't get out of bed one morning because I was crippled in pain, and I had to go and see a specialist, and they said you can't ride horses anymore. You've basically worn a part of your back away, and you can't do it anymore. So I don't ride anymore, and the stables have got cobwebs in them, and the horses have gone to other people, and I just have 2 old fat ponies in the field that I use as lawnmowers now. So, but we do have some geese that are Carl's babies that the Alsatian keeps trying to eat, and so that's our as big as our farm gets. So we don't have any cows or sheep yet.
Well, that's very sad. My Mrs. W had exactly the same thing. She rode horses for years and years, and then her back gave up. But now, later in life, when it really doesn't matter, and if don't tell her there's life after death, for goodness sake, or she'll take even more risks. Now she started riding again.
Oh, really? Oh, it's funny, isn't it? It's just, I don't know. And it was that feeling of not being able to get out of bed. And I thought, my God, if I'm like this now, what am I going to be like when I'm 80-odd? I need to stop it.
Well, when you get to nearly 80-odd, not that she is nearly 80-odd, I probably better shut up now before I get into trouble, I suppose. So anyway, listen, it's Carl's birthday today, if I remember correctly.
It is Carl's. Well done, you. Yes, it's Carl's birthday today. He's 52 years young and looking very gorgeous. And I'm in love with him more now than I think I ever was. He's just the most wonderful. I don't know what I'd do without him. He is truly my other half. God love him. So I bought him some cigars for his birthday present and breakfast in bed.
And she's trying to finish off her husband by giving him cigars.
It's not the healthiest thing to give him, is it? But he loves them. I didn't know that cigars have all these different flavours like cherry and vanilla, and so I bought him a little pouch to put them in, and then Will, our son, gave him one of those clipper things that you cut the end off with, and Mary bought him all this Radox relaxing in a bath jobby, so I think he's been well pampered.
I think he probably has. Now listen, I'll take you up sometime in the future. I'll come round a haunted house with you when we can fix it up. But thank you very much indeed for coming on the programme. Always good to talk with you. Do you want to introduce the guys? Why don't you introduce them?
Oh, okay then. And thank you very much, James. I can't wait for you to come along on The Most Haunted. I think you'll really enjoy it, and you will go away thinking, actually, you might go away being a bit of a believer. Anyway, yes, this is White Eskimo. It's 100 times, out now on iTunes for you to download. And don't forget the EP is available to download on the 26th of April. So White Eskimo.
Thanks very much indeed for that. It's called 100 times. I think, actually, listening to that, I think they'd probably have a lot of success. And I imagine with a mum like Yvette, she'll be there pushing them. Remember, you can download it from iTunes as well, and the EP is coming out soon. I know, because she kept telling me that. Now, let's do Tech Talk, part in the program where Rob, our producer extraordinaire, actually comes to the fore himself and talks about some of those technical issues that we maybe didn't even know about. Rob.
I wish you wouldn't build it up so much. Everyone gets let down.
I wish you'd actually put a little more effort into it, to be quite honest with you.
I do so much else. Cleaning, making the tea.
Yeah. Yeah, and I haven't had a cup of tea for ages. So, you know, quite frankly, okay. I think you could make a little more effort. But there we are.
Okay, this week I'm going to talk about the new Google thing, which is called the Chrome bit.
The Chrome bit?
Yes.
Right, okay.
Google, you know the memory sticks you get for computers that you store your pictures and things on?
Yeah.
They've made a computer the size of that plugs in the side of your telly.
Gosh, really? I mean, computers are going to be the size of your finger before long, aren't they?
Well, that is the size of a memory stick, so... That's why they call them thumb drives, because they're the size.
So can you just use one of those for everything, and then maybe just get a normal size keyboard and plug it in?
Yeah, so you get yourself a wireless keyboard, maybe with a trackpad built in, so you've only got the one device. You plug it
with
in,
a what? A trackpad?
Trackpad. You know, one of the little flat.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I like them slightly up.
Yeah. Okay. I bet you do. And
I don't like them flat.
And you put the this new Chrome bit into the side of your telly through the HDMI port, and it turns your telly into a full computer.
Oh, does it? Well, that's a very good idea, isn't it?
So it's very portable,
That's going to put loads of computer manufacturers' noses out of joint, isn't it?
I imagine it'll upset a lot of TV manufacturers who are trying their best to make smart TVs. Well, this thing just makes them smarter.
So you just have your ordinary digital TV and you plug it in and it's a smart TV?
Yep, for £100.
And can you get every channel that you're supposed to pay for?
I'm sure, yeah, but you can watch all the online TV channels and things with it.
Yeah. Like the new show that I'm going to do with Yvette and Carl, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one, yeah.
Yeah, all right, okay, fine, good. By the way, let's say hi to all those people listening via their favourite radio stations who pick this up at the moment, particularly in America. I do like the idea that we are educating the Americans, because I do think there has to be somebody that just talks a bit of sense to the Americans, don't you?
Yep, just take the letter Z out of the alphabet, everything will be fine.
Yeah, exactly, guys. You don't pronounce Z, Z, okay? Yeah, just... If you listen to this program every week, you'll learn how to speak English as it should be spoke. Like what I speak it.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. Are you all right, Mary Poppins?
Are you waiting for me to say something in Cockney back?
No, that was my impersonation of an American speaking English. Are you all right, Mary Poppins?
Yeah, a bit limited though, isn't it? One sentence.
Yeah, I know. We haven't got time for more, have we? I did ask, you talked about chocolate earlier. Oh, by the way, is that all for Tech Talk? Is that it?
Oh, they come in different colours.
They come in different colours.
Bit pointless, really, because they're around the back of your telly, but there we go.
Yeah, and they're called?
Chrome Bit.
A Chrome Bit. You can stick it in your telly and turn your telly into a super-duper computer. Yeah. All right. Chocolate. I'm addicted to chocolate like you're addicted to computers, right? So we did ask, do you have an addiction? What could you not live without? What could you not live without, Rob?
Coca-Cola.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. Are you still drinking that stuff?
I tried once to wean myself off with Pepsi, but I went back to Coca-Cola very quickly.
God, I haven't tasted that for years. You know they loosen nuts and bolts with it, don't you?
It's very good for cleaning coins.
Yeah, well, there we are. Just imagine what your insides look like. Bright and shiny. I know. Okay, so I did ask this question on Facebook. What can you live without? And some of you are very funny, of course. Matthew Dolphin, funny name. He says, my Sinclair Z7 Spectrum, which is still going strong.
It's a ZX Spectrum.
A what?
I've got 5 of those.
You've got 5?
Yes, I'm a big Sinclair fan.
What do you want 5 for?
I don't know, they all go in my C5.
God, ridiculous. Diane Warburton says she couldn't live without crisps. But Jason Barker is even funny. He said he couldn't live without air.
Yeah.
Andy Carhill says, my saxophone and flute. I bet your neighbours are pleased about that. Ian Lucy said, the internet, beer, and the odd old reruns on YouTube of the James Whale radio show. Karen Knight, though, very sensibly said she couldn't live without James Whale. Very nice, too.
He made some good films.
Very nice, too. Yeah, very good films. I'm going to have another coughing fit. Can you tell everybody what they can find in our shop?
Okay. I'm going to have to fade you out if you're going to cough. Just going to cough. Fade him in, fade him out. Baseball caps, books, T-shirts, and the odd audio recording can be done by going to our shop. Have you finished now?
Yeah, no, very good, yes, yeah. Do you know, I was just looking at my book, Almost a Celebrity, with a very nice cover. Hardback copies still available, of course, and paperback copies available via the website. I wrote this 8 years ago.
Are you sure? It's only 8 years ago?
I wrote 2007.
Oh.
That's 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And I've still got the same clothes as I'm wearing on the cover picture.
Should get them washed.
Well, I think they've been washed. I just put it down. Just got it here in my office beside me. Right, is it time to ask the Oracle or not?
Yeah, we can ask the Oracle. Are you
I
ready?
think we must be running out of time, aren't we?
We're running out of time, so I'll get as many questions as I can in, a bit like Mastermind.
Yeah. Oh, can we say hello to all the other places that you can, of course, listen to this program? They're good enough to put us out. Apart from all the myriad of radio stations, there is talentgb.com, of course. talentgb.com, where if you are an entertainer of some sort, they may well be able to help you promote yourself. Just pop along and ask them. Now, where were we? Yes. Ask me anything you want. Go on.
Kevin Ackerman. Hello, Kevin.
He's a regular. Hello, Kevin. You're always on, mate, aren't you?
Yeah. I'd love to know which celebrity's shin you would kick the hardest if given the opportunity.
Sorry, Kevin, I wouldn't kick anybody.
John Doyle. Who would you have sat round your dinner table, a total of 6 people, including yourself?
Well, okay, there's me and you, Yvette Fielding.
Yeah.
Your wife and my wife.
Oh, crikey, that could get awkward.
And one other person. Who should we have as the other person to dinner? Who would entertain us more than anyone else? Is it alive or living?
We could have a séance and invite the dead.
Well, let's have Henry VIII. I think he'd be quite interesting and entertaining.
What, with all our wives there?
Well, you know, just a suggestion.
Okay. Leewood wants to know, have you gone fishing yet?
No, I haven't been fishing. Why? Does he need fish?
That's a question in reverse. Okay. Do you need fish, Lee?
Do you need fish, Lee? Yes. Let's know why you need fish, Lee. And if I need to go out and get you some fish, I will.
Paul Hammond.
Hello, Paul.
Who would win in a fight between the Munchkins and the Oompa Loompas?
I would go for the Oompa Loompas every time.
Yeah, they're quite big.
They are. I think they'd have no problem at all.
Phil Ward. How thick does string have to be before you call it rope?
It's interesting. I think it has to be around about an inch thick.
I think it has to be interwoven with other bits of string before it comes rope.
Well, yes, that's what I mean. But if you cut it across the middle, right?
Yeah.
Then you need about an inch across the middle for it to be rope. Otherwise, it's sort of string of varying thicknesses, isn't it?
Okie dokie. Well, I'll go with whatever you say. You're the oracle.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, well, I'm the oracle. I must be right. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Pat, James, what's the chance of a live show or an evening with Whale? We've already talked about that, haven't we?
Yeah, if there is a theatre who would like to put it on, or an area where we could see, the problem is that people listen to this programme all over the world. Where would people travel to? If we did an evening with James Whale in or around London, in or around Birmingham, in or around Manchester, which ones would you want to come to? Get in touch, let me know. Maybe we'll sort one out.
We could get a truck, one of them trucks with the way you take the side down of the truck and it becomes a stage.
So I could be like a medicine man in the old Wild West.
Yeah, with touring car parks near you.
Yeah, that's a good... Now, that is not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. Well, when the elections finish and all the... We haven't even spoken about the election.
We're not allowed to.
And the... well, we can, but, we have to be fair to everybody. So if we talk about one, we've got to talk about them all. And we can't show bias to... I haven't got... The trouble is, I have to be careful because I sometimes say something sarcastic. And then you get one thick idiot who makes a complaint. And then, unfortunately, I'm pretty sure that most of you are exactly like me, the sort of person I hope that listens to the programme. Every now and then, one thicko manages to get in as a listener. But if anybody knows anybody who's like that, let me know. And as soon as I can, I will make sure they can't listen to the programme. Because I only want intelligent, interesting people like us, all of us now, here taking part in this programme. We don't want the stupid ones, do we? But they're the problem. You make a sort of flippant remark about politicians during the run-up to an election. And as I have found from time to time, you can get yourself into trouble.
Yes.
Even though I have been exonerated. But that's hardly the point.
They're not very good sports, though, are they?
No, some people are so stupid, they take everything you say literally, and they're the sort of people who wear the clothes that, I don't know, they're elasticated. I always think are very good, elasticated waists. Elasticated waist and polyester. That's the two things that mark out a person who's rather stupid to me.
We had a complaint this week.
Oh, good. Yes, go on.
Do you remember Mr. Longbottom?
Oh, not Longbottom.
Yeah. Do you remember last week I couldn't remember his name and I called him The Bottom?
Yeah.
He didn't like that.
Oh, he's not still listening. I thought we got rid of him.
No, he's still listening. He's catching up, apparently.
Yeah, long bottom. Okay, well, listen, catch up with the pro. Why? Where's he been? Oh, don't answer. I don't want to know. Listen, thanks to Yvette for coming on and talking about the most haunted. I shall look forward to going on a haunted trip. In the meantime, if you want to get in touch with the show, jameswhaleradio@gmail.com is my email. Follow us on Twitter at The James Whale and The James Whale Radio Show and Dead Air Podcasts, and keep in touch until next week. And by the way, if you can suggest, if you think you would be a good guest on the program, you don't have to be famous, you just have to have an opinion on something and you want to talk about something, then email me, jameswhaleradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be a guest in the near future. Right, Robbo, have you got the car? Bring it round to the door, will you?
Oh, can I drive the new Focus?
Yeah, I thought you'd like to have a little drive, so we'll go off just for a bit of a test, shall we?
Cool.
All right, baby, let's hit the road, man.
You're listening to the James Whale Radio Show. For more information, visit www.jameswhaleradio.co.uk. Why not check us out on facebook.com/James Whale Radio Show, or follow James on Twitter @the James Whale. James Whale, the voice of reason.